is sponsored by the Accra Collective of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. Today, our format is going to change slightly. We do not have a lead presenter. So all the discussions are going to be conducted in the room. The studio audience will discuss the issues, and then we'll go to our social media platforms also for comments, for questions, and all. Today, we are looking at the 69th anniversary of Ghana's independence and its implications for Ghana and for the rest of the world. Of course, the story of our independence is very well known. We do know that the people of Ghana suffered under the transatlantic slave trade, where millions of our people were captured as beasts of burden to work the fields in Europe and the Americas to generate the wealth that built Western Europe. Of course, there was massive resistance to the transatlantic slave trade, and thereafter, colonialism was imposed upon us. Britain, which claimed to rule the waves at the time, became the sole authority in the then Gold Coast. Indeed, if you look at national infrastructure, it suggests very strongly that the purpose of colonialism was to steal the wealth of the people of the Gold Coast then. Colonialism came with many things. One of the things was the destruction of African science, the destruction of our culture, especially our spirituality, and the denial of our people, the denial of the right to govern themselves to our people. This led to many struggles, many phases of the struggles, and finally, on the 6th of March, 1957, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah declared that Ghana was independent. In that declaration, he made a very famous claim, which was simply to say that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. Of course, this had its roots in the resolution of the 5th Congress of the Pan-African Congress in Manchester in 1945, where the forebears of our struggles determined that all Africans everywhere had a right and indeed a duty to struggle for national independence. And they did claim then that independence by itself would not bring about the results that we wanted unless the African people united under the broad banner of scientific socialism. They explained that the African people could only be free if they owned their resources and exploited these resources for their own benefit. We have been independent, or we have been declared independent since 6 March 1957. The question that lingers is, are we truly independent? And this question is influenced by some developments in our history within the last 69 years. We cannot forget, for example, that on February 24, 1966, the forces of imperialism, led by the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America, overthrew the Nkrumah government. They overthrew the Nkrumah government because the Nkrumah government was increasingly asserting the independence of Ghana and making sure that the people of Ghana controlled our own resources and that these resources were exploited for our benefit. Indeed, the 7-year development plan, which was prepared by the Nkrumah government, ensured that we controlled virtually all the facets of our development. It also included, aspects which emphasized on the development of science and technology as a basis for our development. The Nkrumah government also vigorously pursued the objective of uniting Africa and pursued a socialist plan. The forces of imperialism overthrew Nkrumah and installed a puppet regime which was known as the National Liberation Council. The National Liberation Council made sure that all progressive forces were not allowed, to get close to power. It passed several laws, including the Preventive Custody Law, under which those who opposed them politically and ideologically were arrested and imprisoned without charge. Progressive political parties were banned, leading to the victory of the Progress Party in the 1969 elections. Indeed, supporters of Nkrumah and persons who disagreed politically and ideologically with the National Liberation Council were completely banned from participation in the process of governance. Those of them who were even working in the public and civil service were dismissed. And that led to a court case, the Apollo 568 court case, which had been instituted by Salah and others. So at that stage, could we be speaking about independence when we were under the control of imperialism and its stooges in Ghana? Of course, if you look at Ghana today, there are many, many questions that are begging for answers. One of the questions begging for answers is that can we truly say that Ghana is independent when we have allowed the United States of America to establish a military base on our soil? Something that the Nkrumah government opposed, something that Pan-Africanists all over the world vigorously opposed. How does that sit with us, the presence of a U.S. military base in Ghana today? How does that sit with the declaration of our independence? Another thing that also throws up some questions is that for some time now, Ghana has gone to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, for a bailout program. And we've gone to the IMF 17 times. What this simply means is that the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank have dictated the pace of our development. They have, for example, said that employment in the public sector should be curtailed. They have insisted on the withdrawal of access, of subsidies on social services in agriculture, and so on. So by and large, we are still in an IMF program. We do not control our own economic destiny, and that economic destiny is controlled by the International Monetary Fund, which to all intents and purposes is an agency of imperialism and so on. So these questions have been asked. Every year, we do the Independence Parade. We used to pack school children on fields, make them march, and so on. This year, we didn't do it at the Black Star Square, we did it at the Presidency. Someone asking, what is the relevance of all these celebrations? What do all these celebrations, tell us about our independence and so on? Another troubling development has simply been the fact that for some time now, we have stopped teaching history as a standalone subject in our educational institutions. Now, if we don't value our history, how then can we be said to be valuing our national independence? So there are so many questions that arise, so many questions that arise. And we are all going to try to answer these questions. So at this point, I'd like to invite our studio audience to speak freely about our independence, its significance, whether it has become meaningful or not meaningful. What are the things that we can do in order to strengthen national sovereignty? What are the things that we can do to make us truly independent? We are told, for example, that Ghana is the third largest importer of tomato paste from Germany. Tropical country. What does that say to our independence and so on? So these are the questions before us, and it is my pleasure to invite the studio audience to discuss these matters. What we are going to do is that those who have contributions to make should just raise their hands, and then we call them to the microphone, and they can speak, try and answer these questions and so on. Then thereafter, we'll go to our social media platforms. So if there are any of us ready to speak now, The microphone is free. Can we see by hands those who are ready to speak on the question of our independence and its relevance today? Any of us who want to speak? I see Comrade Mensah, I see. So we're going to do it very simply. We're going to start from Comrade Mensah, then we come to you, and then to you, and then you, and then you. And then thereafter we'll see if there are more questions to be discussed.
Good evening, studio audience and viewers outside here. The challenge just coming to discuss is about the youth policy of this country. In fact, we know very well that before the 1966 coup, which overthrew Kwame Nkrumah, Kwame Nkrumah had a youth policy which graduates people from, from birth through the youth, then to the grown-up stage. I remember very well he had the Young Pioneers, which was established in almost all sectors of the communities that we ever lived. And from these Ghana Young Pioneers, you graduate, you go to the various secondary school where you are taught about the how to be very, very patriotic. People were taught about patriotism. Then that led to, build something like the workers brigade, builders brigade, and all those things. All these things are entwined with the various facilities and the institutions that it created. But it seems as if right now in Ghana, we don't have anything like that. So I just want to find out why we are not getting. It seems as if the youth are not being taken care of, so that the only means at their disposal to look for some money, then leave the shores of the country. So the country is no more inhabitable for them. They go and they don't even do anything better. So we want to find out why up to now there's never been positive youth policy for the people to benefit. Thank you very much.
Good evening, studio audience and comrades. Yes, after 69 years of independence, I mean, our economy is nothing good to write, has nothing good to write home about. For me personally, I don't see any sector of our economy working. You know, if you go to the education sector, nothing is happening. Health, sanitation, politics. Almost every aspect of our economy is a relic of colonialism. We don't have anything of our own, and we claim to be independent. Are we independent or we are a dominion? I mean, in 1957, we gained independence. History informs us that we were still a dominion, we weren't independent. We became completely independent or a republic after 1st July, right? But we are still, responding to imperial forces and imperial dictations. We wake up every morning, and when you are walking on the street of Accra, people are competing to board a car. There are no transportations. All our roads are not working. Look at the major road like Accra to Kumasi. There are no street lights. There are no road markings. I don't see anything working as an independent nation. If you are truly independent, then we should be self-reliant. We should be able to mobilize our own resources to develop ourselves. That is the only time we can call ourselves independent. For me, I think we are still a dominion. We are still under some imperial forces, imperial dictations. They dictate every aspect of our lives. Even our curriculum. I have been teaching in the secondary school for over 10 years. Our curriculum is based on, our superior powers. A superior authority dictates what is to be taught in our classrooms. The leaders at the front of education are scared to speak up because of the fear of transfer, or the fear of, being a target, and so on and so forth. Many youth are unemployed as we are speaking. The problems are manifold. And I think the only way we can come out of this canker is to have a united African front, as Nkrumah prophesied. It seems Nkrumah was a prophet. I don't see him as just an ordinary person. He was a God sent. But for him to have that foresight, as at that time, most of us weren't born. I was born in 86. I'm here to 10, 40 years. But for him to, foresee the future and predict that unless we unite, have one African front, one military, one currency, one language to break, that's the only time we can break the imperialist forces. And we are experiencing it now. Sometimes I scare for the future because I don't see anything happening. I don't think things are getting better. A friend told me that, Akumia, brace yourself because things are rather going to get worse. Because we don't have the might, we don't have the capacity to fight these imperial forces. But I read social work at the university, and as a social worker, I believe that every problem can be alienated, if not eradicated, so long as conditions are created for them. If you are deliberate about certain things, we can address certain problems. For example, if you want to create, we want to establish street light on our roads, we can do that within a week. There are no street light. If you are driving, you drive at your own peril. You just have to be careful. A report from GSS indicates that road accident kills a number of people than even any other ailment, malaria or any other cancer. Road accident, avoidable death that could be avoided. Thousands of people died to 2025 out of road accidents. Malaria even couldn't record such casualties. How can we sit down in a country like this? People are compelled to leave their own country. We are compelled to leave because there is no future. If you are not fortunate to have proximity with some powers, or you are not fortunate to be born into an affluent family, then your future is shaking. We must do something for ourselves. The ultimate resource of every nation is the human resource. We have to develop our human resource, and our human resource can be used to develop the entire nation, Ghana and Africa as a whole. Thank you very much.
Good evening, studio audience. I'm very happy to be here this time. In fact, our independence, our the topic is the relevance of Ghana's independence. And what personally, in fact, what I can say is that we are not independent at all. There's nothing shows that we are independent because most of our leaders are serving the interests of our colonial masters. That's what I can say. Because they are not tackling the national situation. As Comrade Akumia said, unemployment. Our leaders have gone for this loan, that's this IMF loan, where the condition says that you should not employ your youth or the graduates. And these people also what they could agree with these conditionalities, which is very bad. It's very bad. So we need to tackle this situation, but we need to mobilize massively as a progressive force or movement. We need to mobilize what do you call it? Essentially, so that we can educate a lot of people, we can sensitize in the public to know that we have got the independence. Kwame said, Ghana's independence is what we have got it, but it's meaningless unless it linked to what the total liberation of what African continent. That's why he started what we call it, Ghana. Then we went to Guinea and the other countries, Mali and to mention by the few. So we need to mobilize a lot of people so that we can sensitize them for them to know our future, because our leaders are currently they are serving the interests of our colonial masters, and which is not helping us. If care is not taken, maybe there will be a time even we cannot even work on this as you are saying. Most of the communities we don't have even pipe water. Look at most of our listeners have been destroyed. Currently, even cocoa farmers even are crying. They are putting them into the bottomless pit. All is bad what you call conditions that these people have imposed on us. Thank you.
Good evening, comrades and friends, and good evening to our listeners over there. Today we stand here to talk about 69 years of our independence. And if you look around, 69 years of our independence is meaningless because our factories that Nkrumah built have been destroyed. When I was coming, I have my platform, about 20 platforms. People are complaining about employment. And I'm very sorry to say that if care is not taken, the youth will take on our government because there's lack of employment in the country. And that is facing us very seriously. And it is because the people who overthrew Nkrumah destroyed Nkrumah's policies, and they've not been able to bring them back because they know that if they bring them back, they will not make this. Workers will enjoy and they will not benefit. So they want to establish their own factories or their own business to enrich themselves and leave the poor. I started working in Lagos in 1976. And 76, a student had 3 meals or 4 meals a day. Morning, you go free. Afternoon, you go free. Evening, you go free. And the food that we're eating, I'm telling you, when I was living in Medina, where I used to join a bus, to come to Legon and eat free and go back. And still join the bus, university bus will go back. But the dictators of and IMF destroyed our country. The 31st December Revolution came to correct that issue. But when they came, they made a U-turn. They started with IMF policies. Destroy your factory, because if you destroy your factory, you will not employ more people. Then our government started destroying them. Lay off your workers so that you employ about 10 people. And the government started doing that. And today, we are suffering. They've not been able to replace our factories. They've not been able to bring back buses. When I was working at Legon, the university had about 100 buses. For each town, there were buses. There was a bus, about 3 buses for Accra Central, about 3 buses for Teshi Mungwa, Achimota, Mamprobi. They were running 24 hours. And those days, they used to have whole dance. The buses would come and pick you free to come to Legon. But IMF came and destroyed everything. And we're happy that we're happy to see that they have come to do it. And that is what is making us, we're not seeing anything today. So the problem that we're facing today is not because we have good leaders, but people who are behind our leaders give them different advices. Because if I'm a businessman and I know that if you bring this policy, you kill my business, I won't tell you. I'll advise you wrongly, and then you do it, and nobody will benefit. You will be benefiting. For example, let me tell you today, the government can bring the tap water, the pipe that we are drinking today. Some people are monopolizing, taking water free, selling water free to us, and they know. Some people in the authority, they know them, but they can't touch them because some of them are party people. Those who are doing it are party people, party A or party B. And you can't go and touch that person to stop selling. And he is rather killing you. He's selling the water to you free. Not free. He's making money. And the government is losing. And that is what is bringing us down. But if we have a government who will take the bull by the horn, I don't think this thing will happen. It won't happen. But we sit down today, we are not seeing any development going on. Every government 4 years, when you come, you be thinking of how you will certify others. Within 4 years, everything is gone. Look at what is happening around now. The present government is trying to face some problems just because people are thinking that what you want government to do is not coming. So it's a big problem. 69 years of Ghana independence. Let me say that the progressive forces have been able to stand on our feet to ensure that we still let Nkrumah ideas go on. If we didn't have progressive forces, Nkrumah ideas would have been dead by now. But we had progressive forces, We started with so many organizations. Now we group up to become one single progressive forces. That is a socialist movement of Ghana. And this is what we are all learning from to ensure that in future we don't see that thing to occur again. Other than that, we will be facing big problems. So I'm saying that what we are facing today, no, is not because this, but the IMF has come to destroy our country, and I don't know why any government cannot destroy, cannot go alone without going to IMF. To come and tell you that do this, and what brought about what is it, gold mining? What we are seeing today, no, the gold mining didn't start today. It wouldn't have come at all if Ashanti Gold laid off so many workers. That was 1986 or so. They laid so many workers, and some of them knew how to do gold and surface mining and Obosi mines. If you lay me off and pay me this amount, the money will not go anywhere. It will not reach anywhere. So I also find a means to do this galamsey, and that brought about the galamsey that we're facing today. When we had gold in Ghana, but we made government to handle the gold mining issue. But because of the retrenchment of this Ashanti Gold, the workers were retrenched, paid some peanut, the money is finished. So you can't be sitting down without doing anything. So that made workers to go back to the surface mining, illegal mining, just to survive. So this is the problem that we are facing in this country until we have a revolutionary leader to change the system. And I'm only saying that our present government, if care is not taken, I don't know, but I hope that they are listening and they will correct the issues. If not, 2028, I don't know. They must be very fast because people are complaining about unemployment. People are complaining about unemployment, and the better they wake up, because the IMF has destroyed the country, and then we are suffering. Thank you so much, comrades.
Good evening, comrades. Just last week, Ghana celebrated its 69 years of independence. And my question is Ghana really independent? Because looking at Kwame Nkrumah's visions and ideology for Ghana, he wanted Ghana to be self-independent and self-reliant. So at that time, Kwame Nkrumah wanted Ghana to be industrialized and, to stop Ghana from exporting raw materials and all of that. But yeah, you ask yourself today, Ghana is one of the largest exporter of raw material, cocoa, gold, and oil. So is this the 69 years of independence that we are all celebrating and talking about? So, comrade, we are calling on the government to make Ghana a state or a country where it will exploit its resources and use it for the benefit of the people and stop exporting our raw materials and oils.
Good evening, comrades, and it's a pleasure meeting everybody once again. And it is such an opportunity also to discuss about, so far so good, how far Ghana has come. 69 years old that we are in as we speak. 69 years old of independence. What are we seeing? A country that has so many churches, more than avenues where it can employ a lot of the youth. Most of us are talking about unemployment. Most of us are talking about our education system. The young folks go through education. When they are done with their education, they sit at home, and sometimes what do? They find themselves doing certain things that has absolutely nothing to do with what they studied in the universities. It is so sad. What are we seeing in the contrary? Churches springing up all over the place, and all those who are spearheading all these areas in all these places are charlatans upon charlatans, making sure that they are getting so much for their own personal gains in the name of giving you salvation, telling you God is coming today, tomorrow, etc., etc. 69 years of Ghana independence. We are still not sovereign without food. And that's very, very unfortunate. Ghana, as we know, Comrade made mention, back in time in the university, they are able to eat so free. 3 solid good times, very quality and healthy meals. 3 times in a day. Today, you need to queue to buy food. It is so sad. Country that is old as much as 69 years old is still importing so much food. Different kinds of food. So sad. Even food that we can grow and produce right here in our own country, in our own source. Whatever has gone into the minds of our business people, whatever manipulation that they are having with the authorities, with the government, that is paving the way for them, allowing them to still bring in food that we already have. Bringing in food that is actually poisoning our human health and well-being. Bringing in food products that when we grow, it will destroy our ecosystem, it will mess up our biodiversity. GMOs is flooding up all over the place. Ghana, 69 years of independence, or 69 years old, not too long ago in the previous government. Publicly, it was in our newspapers. The legalization of genetically modified cowpea. My goodness. Why was cowpea so targeted? We need to think through our minds. Why is it not any other food but cowpea that was targeted? It is because it is the most wide eating food. Almost everywhere in this country, everybody consumes cowpea. That is being used to prepare so many dishes. It has been genetically modified for all those funny reasons, those scientists that, oh Lord have mercy upon them, whatever came on their mind, and whatever research analysis that they came up with, giving reasons which are very funny, telling us that our cowpea is having a lot of insect infestation, farmers are not getting the best of yield. It goes on and on with all those funny reasons. Therefore, they need to bring a variety that can resist drought, that can resist the infestation of insect pests. All these things are funny because if that's what you want to do, you need to fix the ecosystem. You need to make sure the environment is the best of itself. Biodiversity, you need to make sure it is well established so that natural processes, natural activities could be conducted by its own self to control those insect pests that will tend to attempt to infest your cowpea and so many other crops. 69 years of independence, Ghana. So sad, most of our food that we have on the market, plantain, pawpaw, oranges, mangoes. For whatever meaning or for whatever concoctions, our agro chemical shops or agro input shops have managed to come up with some kind of substances that could be used to get all these foods ripe within few days. When you harvest, for instance, banana, green bananas, and you keep it the way you're supposed to keep it for it to get ripe, it takes weeks. Now, green banana, which is not really mature from the tree, when you harvest, for whatever concoction that is being used to sprinkle on these bananas, and within days, most especially, it doesn't go beyond 3 days. It is yellow, very well ripe, looking attractive. The same thing is being done on mango. The same on pineapples. Absolutely everything that we are consuming out there. And this is what is happening. A country that is 69 years old. What is happening to us? Our food systems is entirely contaminated and is entirely destroyed. A country of 69 years old that if you want to eat healthy food, you need to brainstorm. You need to think through, because anyhow you look at the food that you want to consume, from whichever source you're going to get it, for one reason or two, that food is contaminated. That food is poisoned. What do you have to do? You have no choice. 69 years old of Ghana independence, we live in a country where our health sector, our health systems is so deteriorating each and every moment, each and every time. You go to our hospitals, sick people are lying on the ground, pregnant women in pain, going through very difficult moments. They don't have any comfortable bed to lie on for laboring. So many issues as we see all the time, each and every time, and we are not seeing the ends of it. So sad and so bad. 69 years old of Ghana, as we are, independence, imperialism has really saturated every sector, every space that we have in the country. It is all over the place. We are not having our way through now. The West is making sure that they are infiltrating every sector that we have, making sure that we are not sovereign in anything that we have. We sit and go to meetings, and you see a westernized journalist sitting down, taking minutes, taking videos, taking photographs. What is he or she going to use it for? Can any of us be in Europe and go and sit in those meetings and do the same? You are not even invited. They are making sure they are infiltrating every area so that we don't own it, for them to rather own it and control and tell us what we need to do and we are not what we are not to do. They have misled us in so many diverse ways, so many ways that we've been misled in our education system, in our food, in our health and well-being. The Rockefeller Foundation infiltrated in our health and medical sector so many years back, decades back in time, and they have rather decided and determining that medicine should go the way they think medicine should go. If it doesn't go the way they see medicine that is supposed to go, it means that whatever you studied in school as a medical student, you are not a medical student. It's our medical sector, our medical professionals. Are they really in charge entirely and everything in controlling and making sure that our health and well-being is under control? They are not. Our pharmaceutical industry, big pharma and what have you, all these people. Rockefeller Foundation has infiltrated all these areas, controlling and making sure that you eat unhealthy food, you get sick, you go out there to buy medication, the money bounces back to them. We are living in this country, all these things are happening, and it's so sad. What kind of leadership are we having? Sitting down and allowing all these things to go on. As if we don't see it happening, as if we don't see it coming. It is happening, and there's so many ways, as my colleague right here said. If we want to do this, we can do it. Absolutely nothing stops us from doing it. When the street lights are off, there's no reason to say there are no bulbs. There's no reason to say that there are no electrical wires to wire things up, or there's so much traffic they don't want to disturb commuters on the road and so on and so forth. No, it is never true. Late in the evening, late at night, when the road is free, that work will be done, and the next morning there will be light on the street once again. All these things could be done, but who is spearheading? Whoever is spearheading has been contaminated, has been misdirected, has been misled. And that person is giving so many excuses. I'll tell you something very, very interesting. Our agri-food system, it is such that it has been misled, and it has gone through a direction where we are thinking and seeing that growing food, if you don't use certain synthetic chemicals to grow the food cannot grow well. Farmers have been believed, or they've been brainwashed, that if you don't add this chemical into the ground, if I don't spray those chemicals on the food, I'm not going to get the best of yield. It comes onto the market. What do we see? It entices us. We go out there to be buying and be consuming. We get sick, and the next moment we know where we find ourselves. Are we helping ourselves? A country which is 69 years old. When the Iran, US, and Israel conflict started, just the beginning of this week, we heard about what Iran is threatening to do. I don't know whether they will finally get it done, but we are hearing some of the sectors, like the Ghana Chamber of Agribusiness is already sounding very, very loud and already making sure that, or getting us to get on our knees and start begging and be crying and be wailing that it's going to affect our food system because of ships that will sail through the Hormuz, where Iran want to block, and we wouldn't be getting food coming to this country again. We wouldn't be getting those fertilizers, those synthetic poison fertilizers to grow our food again. All these things are happening. We need to wake up. Let's not forget that we've had some issues in this country that it was so clear to us that we are not food sufficient. We are in food crisis. COVID-19 served us so many lessons. When there was COVID, when there was lockdown, no food was coming from anywhere else again through the ports, through the airport also. There was no food on our market. What did we see? All these things were telling us that we are not suffering with food, but we are 69 years old. But we thank God so much so well that this present government, NDC, is taking steps and making sure that all these things will be handled and will be solved step by step. And it's a very good step that this government have taken. And we are seeing improvement. And we hope that they will stay for long for them to do so much for us. We are happy what they are doing so far, so good. Thank you so much, comrades.
Comrades, at this stage, we would like to invite Junior Johnson, who also produced this program, to come and give us the messages from social media. Junior Johnson.
Good evening, viewers. I will be taking a few comments from our social media handles, our WhatsApp to be precise, probably Facebook as well. So this is Mensa, and he says, 69 years after independence, Ghana has made progress, but we must continue the struggle for true economic independence. That's from Mensa. Sawa says, our democracy has survived many challenges, and that is something Ghana should be always proud of. That's once again from Sewa. Kojo Tete says, the real task now is to ensure that independence benefits workers, farmers, and young people. That's from Kojo Tete. Esi Amwa says, we must revive the spirit of self-reliance and Pan-African solidarity that inspired the independence movement. I'll take that again. We must revive the spirit of self-reliance and Pan-African solidarity that inspired the independence movement. Once again from Esi Amwa. Yawoben says, despite the economic hardships, Ghana's democratic stability remains an example in the region. Ghana's democratic stability remains an example in the region. That's from Yawoben. Daniel Fori says, Ghana has come far in maintaining constitutional rule and peaceful elections. Well, that's his point. And Owusua Sarah says, our entrepreneurial spirit and private sector growth continue to push the nation forward. That's from Owusua Sarah. Michael Asante says, the next phase of development must focus on innovation, business growth, and youth empowerment. The next phase of development must focus on innovation, business growth, and youth empowerment. That's from Michael Asante. Fifi Bedu says, after nearly 7 decades, many Ghanaians are still struggling with unemployment and inequality. After nearly 7 decades, many Ghanaians are still struggling with unemployment and inequality. He left it as simple as that. That's once again from Fifi Bedu. Amabuachi says, political independence without economic transformation leaves the country dependent on foreign systems. Kofi Adai also says, too many national resources are still controlled by multinational interests rather than the Ghanaian people. That's from Kofi Adai. Kwame J says, independence must mean more than a flag and an anthem. True freedom comes when Ghana controls its resources and uses them to uplift workers and farmers. Amma says, 69 years later, we must revive the vision of self-reliance and social justice that inspired the independence struggle. I'll take a few more as the message keeps coming. Abbas Amogbobo from Ofinsu says, the price of food must also come down to reflect the market. Okay, well taken into consideration. I think I'll take one last one and I'll be over. Two more, sorry. After nearly 7 decades of independence, why does Ghana still depend heavily on foreign capital and imported goods? I think this is a question for our resource person. And he goes on to say, what policies are needed to ensure that Ghana's natural resources benefit ordinary citizens rather than the small elite? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This will end the reading.
Comrades, if there's anybody here who wants to react to some of the messages on the social media platform, you can do so. Anybody wants to react to anything from social media, the microphone is available. Anybody, well, it doesn't appear that anybody wants. Yes, please come. But short, 3 minutes.
Well, thank you very much, comrades. What I think we could do regarding our food system, I always talk about food because that's my area of expertise. One person made mention of why are we still having food which is expensive, that way, you take it easy. We are going to have so much food. Let's not forget, let's keep in mind some of the pragmatic measures that the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the Honorable Minister Kopoku, so many things that he's doing. The President himself, what he is going to do in the food and agriculture sector. Paul Lugu is coming back with this tomato production. Other places where tomatoes will be produced in some parts of the Upper East it's already also in course. And I don't know whether we all know about a very huge oil palm plantation that's about 150,000 hectares. That's about to also get in shape. Our staple food of cereals and grains is also underway. All these things, the government is championing it and making sure that food security and access to food and affordable food in no time before the close of year will have so much food. With little money that you have, there's so much food that you can use, you can be buying from the little money that you have. And Ghana, 69 years of independence, we need to also understand and take it easy. The mess that has been caused is so much. This present government is making sure that they are taking step by step and also mending up and making sure that all these messes will be tackled. Let's not forget that the employment issue, just recently, the cannabis industry is bouncing for the very first time in Ghana, the legalization of it. If we had a policy that it's being circulated, which is on public, for everybody to understand and know how the industry is going to solve unemployment issues regarding the garment and clothing industry, because most of the variants of the cannabis has a lot of fiber that could be used to produce the clothes that we are wearing and so many other products, therapeutic, pharmaceutical, and what have you. So it is going to solve so much unemployment issue, and I think other concerned viewers who were asking of unemployment and how it's going to be handled at the age of 69 and all that. So these are the few things I think I can react to them, and let's see how things will go. Thank you very much.
Well, first, we'd like to thank the production team, Junior Johnson, Sewa, and all those who helped to put this program together. Thank you very, very much. We'd like to thank the studio audience for coming and sharing your views, And we also like to thank those who joined us on social media and freely shared their views. And all of you who watch, the Palaver, the Wednesday Palaver. We'll be back next week with another edition of Wednesday Palaver. But until then, please still keep watching Pan-African television because we bring you the best in everything. It's bye-bye from all of us, the director of the show, Sewa, all of us. Bye-bye until we meet again next week. Bye.